Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtike. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Canto 3, chapter 16, text 27, where the Lord was saying that the cursing happened because I desired it. So we heard yesterday that nothing can happen without the sanction of the Lord. It said that not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord. There is an interesting pastime why they say that also, because all these great demigods were collected at one time. There was Indra, all the great ones, Indra, Surya, Vayu, and then they were starting to become puffed up. And Krishna doesn't like his devotees get puffed up. So then somehow it happened that there was a blade of grass there, and it was decided, it happened that who's going to move it, so they all tried. Even Vayu tried to move the blade, in the wind. How many things fly around here, right? We see the leaves move, the papers are flying, depends on how strong is the wind. So Vayu tried his full might also, all the other demigods also tried, but the blade of grass wouldn't move. So because Krishna wanted to teach the lesson that not even a blade of grass can move without his sanction, because he does not will it. And then everyone tried and it couldn't move. And then Krishna decided, okay, now it's time for it to move. And it moved. And so they all realized that, oh yes, Krishna's will is the most important. So that's what we have to try to also remember in our life. So we'll start.
So that's why it is mentioned always, and not even a blade of grass.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. We forget that. We think, oh, I'm doing it, and because I want something, so it should happen. I did so much, why it didn't happen? We always like, I, without understanding, is Krishna's will there or no? And we have to try to understand that Krishna's will is the most benevolent. His will is the most merciful. most auspicious for all of us, that we have to, build that faith gradually, that Krishna knows better than me. Just hold on a moment, please. Brahmovacha athate munayo drishtva nayananda bhajanam vaikuntam tad adhishthanam vikuntam cha swayam prabham. Lord Brahma said, after seeing the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the self-illuminated Vaikuntha planet, the sages left that transcendental abode. The transcendental abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as stated in Bhagavad Gita and confirmed in this verse, is self-illuminated. So here Lord Brahma was saying that, okay, the four Kumaras, now they saw the Lord and they're going back now. And where did they see the Lord? They saw the Lord in his transcendental abode. And how is that transcendental abode? Self-illuminated. It doesn't need a sun. It doesn't need a moon to make the light. Now the sun has risen. That's why it's bright outside. Otherwise it was dark because the sun was not there. That's the nature of the material world. But the Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, we do not need the sun to make the light. The light is already there, which is coming from the body of Krishna. That is the source of light. The Brahman effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti is the source of all light. And from that Brahman, that light, the sun and the moon here in the material world get the light. So does it mean that there is no sun or moon in the Vaikuntha planets? Anyone?
I think it's not there, right?
Yeah, no. Sun and moon are the eyes of Krishna, and the Brahma Jyoti coming out of him is the illumination that is
there. Yeah. So in the Vaikuntha planet, the sun and moon is there, but it's for the sake of pastimes, for decoration. Not that the light is dependent over there on the sun and moon. So in the Vaikuntha planet also, it's like, oh, now the sun has risen. Now we have to wake up. We have to do our duties. Oh, now it's moon. There is it's night now. The moon has risen. Time for Adi-Lila. So, but all this is for the sake of pastimes. Not like here we are dependent on sun and moon. If not sun and moon, we wouldn't be able to be alive. But over there, it's for the sake of pastimes, to make it look more beautiful. Yeah. So there is no need over there, but is there for pastimes, to have that, variety. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So we continue reading. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in the spiritual world, there is no need of sun, moon, or electricity. This indicates that all the planets there are self-illuminated, self-sufficient, and independent. Everything there is complete. Lord Krishna says that once one goes to that Vaikuntha planet, he never returns. So we should try to go there, back home, back to Godhead. No need to come back to this material world of birth, death, old age, and disease. And Krishna gives the guarantee. He's giving the guarantee in Bhagavad Gita. Every time he's saying, even the devotees give guarantee. Then go back home. No need to come back here then. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha never returned to the material world. But the incident of Jay and Vijay was a different case. They came to the material world for some time and then they returned to Vaikuntha. So we heard yesterday, Jay and Vijay, they came from Vaikuntha because the Lord wanted to enjoy the fighting pastime. And then they soon went back also. Just in 3 lifetimes, and they went back. And also we have to understand that time in the spiritual world is eternal, right? In the material world, in the spiritual world, time is eternal. But what's the difference between time in the material world and spiritual world is that in the material world, time has a deteriorating effect. Deteriorating. With time, things lose their shine, their luster, become old. Could be anything, you know, plants, trees, even our bodies. So that is the deteriorating effect of time in the material world. But time does not have any effect on the soul. The soul is eternal. It's not that because this body is aging, for example, the body is X number of years. But what about the soul? Time does not have influence on the soul. So Prabhupada would say, when we'll go back to the spiritual world, all these millions of lifetimes, all this time will just seem like a moment. When we are with Krishna, we'll be like, oh, what was that? Just a bad thought, you know, and we continue in our pastime with Krishna. Because time is...
So there's no day and night in the spiritual world.
So there is day and night, but everything is for the sake of pastimes.
Mm-hmm.
For pastimes, to have this nice, like, you know, there's no pressure, kind of. Over here, for example, we know we have 24 hours. The sun is going to be out for X hours, and then the moon is going to be there. But so we are forced in that, right? It's a forced position for us. But in the spiritual world, everything is so arranged for pleasure. For pleasure. Oh, now let us go to sleep at night so that in the morning again we can enjoy with Krishna. And then in the morning again the activities start. Why? So that we can be with Krishna. So it's just pleasing. There is no like force. It's, you know how the director, how he stages a play, he controls everything. So like that. So over there in the spiritual world, Krishna is personally directing everything. Well, Yogamaya, she directs everything for the pleasure of Krishna and all the inhabitants. So everything is for the pleasure of Krishna and the pleasure of the inhabitants, people living there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something was coming to my mind, I forgot that. Anyways, maybe it comes in later. Like, for example, when Krishna was here on 5,000 years ago, when he was doing the Vrindavan pastimes, so he had the Ras-Lila pastime with the gopis. And so we think, oh, it was for one night, right? Sharad Purnima, one night, full moon night. But actually, what did Krishna do? That one night was actually full one Brahma's night. The pastime was going on. Because Krishna is the controller of time. So he was enjoying, and the gopis are enjoying with him. He knew the gopis, they want to be so much with him that one night he elongated it into Brahma's, whatever you call it, a day or a night, it's equal. You know? So that way. Yeah. For us, we can't do that, right? No matter how much we are enjoying, then the clock is ticking.
Correct. Yeah,
that way. So Krishna's pastimes are inconceivable. Krishna is inconceivable. All inconceivable things find their, you know, in Krishna because of his inconceivable potency. Inconceivable potency. So reading on 28. So by hearing all this, we should have that even more desire. Let me go see there, you know. How is it over there? Imagine. So 28. Bhagavatam parikramya pranipatyanumanya cha prati jagmu pramuditaha sham santo vaishnavim shriyam. The sages circumambulated the Supreme Lord, offered their obeisances, and returned extremely delighted at learning of the divine opulences of the Vaishnava. So now they are happy that because they understood the position of the devotee, of a Vaishnava, like Krishna is so attached to the Vaishnava. It is still a respectful practice to circumambulate the Lord in Hindu temples, especially in Vaishnava temples. There is an arrangement for people to offer their respects to the deity and circumambulate the temple at least 3 times. So circumambulate, going round and round. You know, in many temples we have it, in ISKCON, Juhu, Mayapur temple.
Yes, yeah.
We can go around, offer the respects. So text 29, Bhagwan Anuga Aha Yatama Bhaishtam Astu Sham Brahma Tejas Samarthopi Hantum Neche Matam Tume. The Lord then said to his attendants, Jai and Vijay, depart this place, but fear not. All glories unto you. Though I am capable of nullifying the Brahmana's curse, I would not do so. On the contrary, it has my approval. So Krishna is telling them, don't fear. You know, of course, how anxious we would be that, oh, we have to leave Vaikuntha, you know. We are nice, happily, no anxiety, no fear, just being with Krishna, nothing to worry about. No need to worry, oh, how to pay the bills, how to maintain this body, how to, you know, each of us have our different worries, how to, whatever, make you know, try to organize things, how to manage the things. They're just happy, just being in Vaikuntha. So of course it will be fearful, but Krishna is saying, don't fear. Everything's happening because of my desire, you know. As explained in connection with text 26, all the incidents that took place had the approval of the Lord. Ordinarily, there is no possibility that the 4 sages could be so angry with the doorkeepers, nor could the Supreme Lord neglect his 2 doorkeepers, nor can one come back from Vaikuntha after once taking birth there. So here we have another guarantee. Nor can one come back from Vaikuntha after taking birth there. So once we go back home, we don't come back to this material world. And in Vaikuntha, there is no cursing happening. You know, it wouldn't have happened ordinarily. There's no anger, no envy. And so all these incidents, therefore, were designed by the Lord himself for the sake of his pastimes in the material world. Thus, he plainly says that it was done with his approval. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for inhabitants of Vaikuntha to come back to this material world simply because of a Brahmanical curse. So we can understand once we reach Vaikuntha, that there is no like, oh, people are going to get angry at me, they're going to curse me. You know, here we have all these fears, right? Oh, I might get cursed, I might offend someone, what's going to happen? Once we go back, no, nothing of that sort's happening. We have the full, complete personal protection of Krishna. Personal protection of Krishna. The Lord especially blesses the so-called culprits, all glories unto you. A devotee once accepted by the Lord can never fall down. That is the conclusion of this incident. So once we take shelter of Krishna, Krishna never lets us go. Krishna completely protects us, you know, because he is the one who's protecting all of us, each of us. And that's why he says, surrender unto me.
So the 4 Kumaras would be there only in Vaikuntha.
The 4 Kumaras, they actually live on the planet, I forget, is it the Maharlok or the Janalok or Tapalok? They live on one of those planets. These are like
material,
really,
right? In the material world.
In the material world. These are like,
so they return back.
They return back. These planets are very auspicious planets. Everybody's meditating on the Supreme Lord, you know, doing various things. Not like here, but yeah, they go back. That's where they live.
Oh, I thought like once they see, like they got the Lord, they would remain there. No,
they don't remain there. Then they went back. Here we heard yesterday in previous words that they circumambulated the Lord and returned.
Oh.
Yeah, so they go back to their planet.
I thought once you reach, you know, the spiritual planet.
But because their time is still not there, no, to go back to the Vaikuntha.
Okay.
you know. So because this one day of Brahma is still going on, you know, this our Brahmaji's one day is going on. So then for the sake of like we conditioned souls and the whole arrangement, it has to pass. That has to pass. Yeah.
And His will. Yeah. The Lord's will.
Yeah, Lord's will. Lord's will. Because the four Kumaras, they are also inspiring so many people to become devotees. No? So they're also preaching. Yeah. They're one of the Vaishnav Sampradayas. They are the beginners of one of the Vaishnav Sampradayas. As we say, there's 4 Sampradayas, Vaishnav Sampradaya, one beginning from Lord Brahma, that we are coming from. Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Vaishnav Sampradaya, that's where we are. Then one is the Sampradaya coming from the 4 Kumaras, that the Acharya is Nimbarkacharya. And then we have the Rudra Sampradaya, where the Acharya is Vishnu Swami. And then we have the Shri Sampradaya. That's very famous also, the Shri Vaishnavas, coming from the line of Ramanujacharya. Where this is from the other 2, the Kumaras and Rudra Sampradaya, not so famous, but the Shri Vaishnavas are very famous, especially in South India. There are a lot of them in South India. So reading on text 30, Etat Puraiva Nirdishtam Ramya Krudaya Yada Purapavarita Dvari Vishanti Mai Uparate. This departure from Vaikuntha was foretold by Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. She was very angry because when she left my abode and then returned, you stopped her at the gate while I was sleeping. Okay, so now another pastime is happening. Ramya is Lakshmi Devi. Okay, Ramya, Lakshmi Devi. Now what happened? There was a time when Jaya Vijay, when the Lord was resting, and then Jaya Vijay were, you know, they are his personal attendants, they're guarding. And she wanted to meet him, and they told her, no, the Lord is resting, you cannot come. You know, you can't come. So she got angry. Why can't I see my husband? You know, how can you do that? So there's one more reason now of happening. I don't know if you all have realized that even when we do something, there are a couple of reasons many times. It's not only one reason why we take a decision. I don't know if you all have analyzed that. You know, like there'll be a couple of things and then we'll say, this thing, and because of this and because of this, okay, let me do it. You know, so Krishna's pastimes are also like that. Not always has to be only one thing. Like he fulfills a lot of purposes in one pastime. So text 31, Mai Samramba Yogena Nistirya Brahma Helanam Pratyeshyatam Nikasham Me Kale Nalpiyasa Punaha. The Lord assured the 2 Vaikuntha inhabitants, Jaya and Vijaya, by practicing the mystic yoga system in anger, you will be cleansed of the sin of disobeying the Brahmanas and within a very short time return to me. So the mystic yoga process, Samadhi, their minds was always fixed on Krishna, but it was in anger because Krishna wanted to fight. So he's saying, because you will be always thinking of me, you will be purified of the Brahmana's curse. Of course, Krishna could have easily taken away the Brahmana's curse, as we just heard. No Brahmana's curse could have affected, but Krishna's pastime. The Supreme Personality of Godhead advised the 2 doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijay, that by the dint of bhakti yoga in anger, they would be delivered from the curses of the Brahmanas. Srila Madhav Muni remarks in this connection that by practicing bhakti yoga, one can become free from all sinful reactions, even a brahmasha or curse by a brahmana, which cannot be overcome by any other means, can be overcome by bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga is the most potent. Actually, bhakti yoga is the only way. It's the only way that we can get the true liberation, true moksha, true whatever we call it, mukti, to be situated in our original position. It's only by bhakti. Why? Because that is our original position. Bhakti is our original position. We are eternal souls. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. Each of us has an intimate, loving relationship with Krishna. And so that's what our Sanatan Dharma is, bhakti, of each living entity. So one can practice bhakti yoga in many ras. There are 12 ras, 5 primary and 7 secondary. The 5 primary rasas constitute direct bhakti yoga, but although the 7 secondary rasas are indirect, they are also counted within bhakti yoga if they are used in the service of the Lord. So the 5 primary ras we have, does anybody remember the 5 ras of bhakti?
Madhurya, Sakya.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the ras, right? One is the conjugal.
Yeah.
Madhurya.
Yeah.
Neutral.
Neutral, yeah. One is the
Yeah.
neutral, the first one. Then Sakya.
Yeah. That's right. So it starts from dasya, neutral, dasya, then sakya, friendship, then is vatsalya, right?
Madhurya.
Vatsalya and then madhurya. And then what are the 7 secondary ras? The 7 secondary ras is like ghastliness, laughter, So these 5 primary rasas is what the living entity has that relationship, that can't change. But then what are these 7 secondary rasa is that the moods, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there, for the sake of having more emotions. So like one of the secondary rasa I remember is ghastliness. That is the mood that Bhishma Dev wanted to see Krishna. And when he was shooting the arrows on Krishna's body, what is Krishna feeling? Oh, my devotee, like how we offer flowers, how we throw flowers on the Lord, in Pushpa Abhishek, how we showering, not throw, shower flowers. Krishna was feeling like that my devotee is showering flowers on me. So that's their ras, the ghastliness. That's one of the ras. We might imagine, my God, what is a ras like this? But Krishna enjoys and his devotees enjoying it. Bhishma Dev is loving that. When he's leaving his body, he's saying, I'm seeing this form, of Krishna's transcendental form I'm seeing. So in other words, Bhakti Yoga is all inclusive. If one somehow or other becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes engaged in Bhakti Yoga as described in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-15, Kamam, Krodham, Bhayam. This Kamam, Krodham, Bhayam. Bhayam is this, I think, ghastliness, Krodham, anger, Kamam, lusty. And so what is it? What we have to do? We need to get attached to Krishna, attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, how will we get attached to him? The more we hear and chant about him, the more we understand, oh, he's so wonderful. He has such wonderful, amazing qualities. He's so sweet. He's so humble. Unimaginable qualities. Then we will gradually become attached. And that is the perfection. That is a perfection, to become attached to Krishna, because that's our original position. It's not artificial origin. It's natural, very natural for us. The gopis were attracted to Krishna by Bhakti Yoga in a relationship of lusty desire, Kam. Similarly, Kams was attached to Bhakti Yoga by dint of fear of his death. Thus, Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that even becoming an enemy of the Lord and always thinking of him can deliver one very quickly. So does it mean we should become Kans and start, becoming an enemy of Krishna? What do you think?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Definitely not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because, somebody might say, oh, it's okay. I can become Krishna's enemy and I'm doing bhakti. No, it's not. The definition of pure devotional service of bhakti is given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabilasata Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Ruttamam. That pure devotional service is awakened when one engages in service without desire for material, no material desire, no desire for liberation, no desire for mystic yogas, and it is performed by following the previous acharyas, and it is performed favorably. Kans is not favorable to Krishna. So we have to perform it favorably, and it has to be uninterrupted. Not that, oh, today I do it and tomorrow I don't. So, but what do? I'm not on the pure devotional platform. Doesn't matter. We just continue hearing and chanting. Leave everything to Krishna. I have so many material desires. Doesn't matter. Continue hearing and chanting. I want to get liberation. Doesn't matter. Continue hearing and chanting. You know, that's what is. Just get attached to Krishna somehow or the other. That's bhakti. We did that. It is said, Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Deva Asuras Tad Vipanyaya. Devotees of Lord Vishnu are called demigods, whereas non-devotees are called asuras. But Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that both demigods and asuras can derive its benefits if they always think of the personality of Godhead. So devotees are called demigods and non-devotees are called asuras. So what are we in Kali Yuga? What are we? Are we demigods or are we asuras? There are only two kinds. Krishna says there is only the divine or the demoniac. Well, in Kali Yuga, the divine and demoniac live in the same person. You know, sometimes we can be really demoniac and sometimes we can be really divine. So what we have to do is cultivate the divine, and we have to gradually give up our demoniac qualities. And how do we do that? By chanting. The basic principle of Bhakti Yoga is to think of the Supreme Lord always. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18.65, Man mana bhava mad bhakta. Always think of me. It doesn't matter which way one thinks. The very thought of the personality of Godhead is the basic principle of Bhakti Yoga. Somehow or the other, think of Krishna. Man mana bhava mad bhakta. Always think of me. Krishna is saying always. He's not saying sometimes, once in a year, or, you know, just on Janmashtami. He's saying always. But how am I going to do my work if I'm always thinking of Krishna? Well, Krishna is not stupid. He's the one who's made the system. He knows what we are thinking. Yeah, so he knows it is possible, you know, and that's the reason he's saying always think of me. And Prabhupada would say, if we don't think of Krishna during the course of doing our duty, then how will we remember him at the time of when we are dying? How? We won't be able to remember him if we separate our duties and Krishna. You know, so we have to always remember him, connect our everything to Krishna. There should not be any difference. This is my material life, this is spiritual life. No, it's for the pleasure of Krishna. Let me connect whatever I'm doing, whatever position I am in. Let me do it for Krishna's pleasure. I'm sorry, we are already a bit over time. Do you want to stop here? Sneha?
We can complete this.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just concerning. Okay, in the material planets, there are different grades of sinful activities, of which disrespecting a Brahmana or a Vaishnava is the most sinful. Most sinful, disrespect a Brahman or a Vaishnava, pure devotee, because Krishna takes that offense personally. A Vaishnava never takes offense for himself. Because he's a pure devotee, he will say, no offense is taken. But Krishna keeps that in his heart. And then he says, you go and apologize from the Vaishnava. Here it is clearly stated that one can overcome even that grave sin simply by thinking of Vishnu, not even favorably, but in anger. Thus, even those who are not devotees always think of Vishnu. They become free from all sinful activities. Krishna consciousness is the highest form of thought. Lord Vishnu is thought of in this age by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. From the statements of the Bhagavatam, it appears that if one thinks of Krishna, even as an enemy, that particular qualification, thinking of Vishnu or Krishna, cleanses one of all sins. So we are advised to think of Krishna, and the easiest way of thinking of Krishna is chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So we can see that there is no, we do not need to do any other forms of prayaschit, penances, yoga. We do not have to do anything. We just have to do bhakti. Bhakti is not dependent on any other, that, oh, you first get purified and then you can start doing bhakti. No, you simply start hearing and chanting. Automatically, the purification starts happening. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I like that part that, how that in us there's Devta and Asuras.
Yeah, in Kali Yuga, the divine and demonic, they're both in us,
In us, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we can really be demoniac, Sometimes
Yes.
we can. We forget that, but it's there. Then what to do? Chant.
Yeah, some bad thought comes in us suddenly. Like,
Oh, yeah.
why?
Yeah, of course. Anger. We have anger also. So pride. We'll hear in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, pride, arrogance, all these are demoniac qualities. Conceit, So we have those. We have it. So what to do? Well, just chant. Take shelter of Krishna. Accept that, okay, I am Krishna, I am. This is who I have become now. What can I do? But I am yours. I know you love me a lot and I love you a lot. So we just chant.
There was an example given by Radha Govind Maharaj. He said that when somebody sees you chanting and then they will say, अरे पहले अपने आप को शुद्ध करो तब chanting करना. ऐसे क्या तुम मतलब चैंटिंग करने बैठ गए, तुम्हारा मन तो शुद्ध ही नहीं है, सब गलत काम तो तुम करते जा रहे हो, क्या मतलब है इसका चैंटिंग करने का? People say that a lot of times when they see you doing that. And then he said कि अगर कोई बीमार है तो वो पहले दवाई लेगा या फिर ठीक होने के बाद दवाई खाएगा वो.
That's so good.
Right,
Yeah. So that
yeah.
means that you have to start chanting no matter what. That's why you are chanting. That chanting will purify you. So medicine जब आप लोगे तब आपको क्योर होगे ना. So you have to start chanting. If you're feeling demoniac, आपको लग रहा है कि आप में ज्यादा सब भरा हुआ है, तो बल्कि ज्यादा chant करना चाहिए ताकि वो purify करेगा आपको. So yes, I thought so good that it was really right. Like,
right.
हम
True.
सही चीज है, वही है.
Very good. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
if anyone tells us, we can give this answer.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling this, because he said that उन्होंने बोला और फिर उन्होंने ये जवाब दिया कि ऐसा है भाई.
Right. Very true.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai. God, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Sorry, Sneha, we went a bit over time.